The SBS Tournament of Champions, which starts an hour from now on NBC. Coming up on Golf Channel, the first event of the Web.com season. You'll see it next live from the Bahamas, where the weather is a bit different. The wind is brutal. In fact, 65 players are a combined 330 over par in the first round. That coverage coming up next on Golf Channel. So, well, let's just say it's probably a good thing for your hair anyways. We are in Maui and not the Bahamas.
That's a cheap blow early.
Very early. Let's get to what's at stake here today. So much for Justin Thomas. A chance to win in the United States. A chance to win with a great field where 6 of the top 10 in the world teed it up. He and Hideki Matsuyama, the hottest player in the world, winning 4 of 5 in the final group. Can't ask for much more than this.
Yeah, a chance to join some very young and talented company, that being Jordan Spieth and Hideki Matsuyama, the only players who are 24 years of age or younger with 3 PGA Tour wins. And of course, really in the top 25, it's getting younger and younger. There's 4 players who are 24 years of age or younger. Emiliano Grillo, talented South American, of course, Hideki Matsuyama, Jordan Spieth, and right there with them, Justin Thomas, who has twice won on the PGA Tour, but never in the United States. And so a unique opportunity.
And Randall, with Thomas, I don't think it's going to be a case of a player coming in and learning how to win for maybe the second time this season, but someone that's just coming into their own. This guy has had a lot of upside since his rookie year on the PGA Tour. He's been top 10 in total birdies in each of the last 2 seasons. And when I evaluate a player, I look at how low can they shoot in terms of evaluating what their thresholds are as far as going and running away with golf tournaments. And over the last 2 seasons, 9 times Justin Thomas has shot 65 or better, averaging over 9 birdies in those rounds. And in 3 of those times, he made 10 or more birdies in those rounds. So this guy has a lot of firepower. The one thing that you could say is a little bit of a knock on his consistency is that also over the last 2 seasons, he has shot 75 or worse 25 times. So this guy has a lot of room to improve on an already very stellar start early in his career.
He has a great stage today as he has the first 54-hole lead of his career where he's going to try to win. And you got to believe pressure will be a bit of a factor early on playing against Hideki Matsuyama, who will come out, and you get the idea he'll continue to be as consistent as anyone. Let's show you how we got here. And with Matsuyama, it's been the putter.
Yes, it has. This has been a big turnaround. We're going to get into that a little bit deeper here in just a minute. But for the moment, just enjoy the hottest player on the planet. Jordan Spieth on Wednesday said he was the man to beat. Well, the only man that has beaten him in the last 5 events is this one right here.
Yeah, beautiful game, long game, high, towering drives and iron shots. But when you couple that with great approach shots with the short irons, man, it just becomes a full package.
And for Matsuyama, the short game, we've known about the irons for a long time, but when he starts doing this is when he became a top 6 player in the world.
Well, this is just a place for the best players in the world to show off. I mean, the golf course is in fabulous condition. There's not much wind to speak of. Beautiful views, whether you're looking out at the ocean or out on the golf course.
And Thomas has this ability, Nota, a chance to take it deep off the tee.
Well, Thomas made 16 eagles in his rookie season, followed that up with 11 eagles last year. And this is what not many players are able to do, is carry it a good 285 yards uphill into a steep slope and be able to run that on the front part of the green, and gives him a beautiful uphill right-to-left putt that he rolls in, and that was what created some separation between him and the rest of the field.
So it is a 2-shot lead entering the final round. Players with a 2-shot lead on the PGA Tour win 42% of the time the last 4 seasons. There's a look at your leaderboard. As you can see, what was very tight heading into Saturday has opened up just a bit. Patrick Reed in 7th place is 6 back to start the day of our leader, Justin Thomas. Thomas and Matsuyama, they've both been hot. We'll talk about Matsuyama, 105 under par over his last 6 starts worldwide. Players in the field, he's beaten everyone but one in his last 5 starts, and that was Justin Thomas, who beat him at the CIMB Classic. Matsuyama has been on some kind of roll, something Justin Thomas is well aware of.
If I'm near Hideki in a tournament, that's usually probably a pretty good thing on Sunday. He's obviously a tremendous player, and he's on an unbelievable run here the last 5 events. And I actually had no idea I was the only one to beat him until I think Doug tweeted it or something, that I was the only person to beat him in the last 5 events, which is absurd, the fact that he's won 4 of his last 5. But Yeah, it's good, and he's a great player, but there's a lot of other great players out there, and I just need to go take care of my job.
And Justin Thomas saying all the right things, giving respect to Matsuyama, who certainly deserves it. Noda, pressure, 54-hole leads, coming out here knowing it's the start of the new year, really sets up your season when you win right off the bat. What's going through Thomas's mind?
Well, I wish I knew, but when I was trying to convert a 54-hole lead, I know that you really just try and focus on your routine. You really don't want to get away from the things that have been working for you so well, and whether it's what you eat for breakfast or what time you get to the golf course and exactly the things that you're doing in preparation, just to get your body and your mind locked into the proper approach for the day. I mean, he understands that he's got a formidable task in holding off some of these players. You got Walker, who's only a few shots back, and you have Matsuyama, was designated by Jordan Spieth early in the week as the player to beat. So he's going to get a ringside seat to how Matsuyama's playing today, and so he'll be able to kind of figure out how this thing's going to shake out probably within the first 5 or 6 holes.
Randall, so much at stake for Hideki Matsuyama, historically, especially in his home country of Japan, looking to win for the 4th time. A victory here would move him to 5th in the world, looking to win back-to-back on the PGA Tour, which never been done by a Japanese player. What has really transformed Matsuyama into this elite player?
Well, first of all, I think he seems to be impervious to those pressures that you alluded to, and the pressures are many when you come from Japan. I mean, they're followed and asked for interviews constantly, but it seems like for the last 2 or 3 years we've been talking a lot about his potential, but the last 6 months we've been talking about his trajectory. He's on a trajectory to be the #1 player in the world, and what has really changed is this club here. He has always been a formidable ball striker, if not the very best on the PGA Tour, and you start to look at graphically where his weaknesses are. Let's just take a look, not that far back, actually, the PGA Championship. Tee to green that week. Tee to green at the last major of the year. Nobody was better, but he was almost dead last amongst those that made the cut, and he finished 4th in the event at Wyndham. Again, one of the best from tee to green, but towards the back of the pack in putting, and still he finished 3rd. The Tour Championship, you can see something happened. He was 18th tee to green in that rather short field, but he was the best on the greens, and he finished 5th. And this week, you see, strokes gained putting, he's 4th. But look down at the bottom. He leads the field from 4 to 8 feet. He's had 16 putts from 4 to 8 feet, this would be in one of them. He's made 15 of them. One of the things I think that's different is that he started pointing his left elbow more at the target. This makes him a little bit less wooden. It gives him a little bit more room to set the club differently on the way back. The putter head now, it still opens, but it hoods and faces the ground and releases more up. Who pointed their elbow at the target? Well, perhaps the greatest putter of all time in Jack Nicklaus. And if you wonder who the putter is over on the right, that player, well, that player averaged about 230 yards off of the tee. He won the 1934 PGA Championship. In 1938, that player that you're looking at beat Sam Snead in the final of the PGA Championship by the widest margin ever. He beat him 8-7. Sam Snead was out driving him by as much as 50, 60 yards. That was Paul Runyon. Paul Runyon won 29 times on the PGA Tour, and he's a legendary teacher. His prowess extends to Gene Littler, Phil Rogers, Frank Beard, Mickey Wright, and the premise of his book, The Short Way to Lowering Your Scores, was point your elbows at your target. He did it with his chipping, and he certainly did it with his putting. Now, Paul Runyon didn't really have a whole lot of wrist hinge, but he definitely rocked his shoulders and his elbows and believed in hooding the putter going back, something that I think Hideki Matsuyama has incorporated over the last 2-3 months, and it's made all the difference in his putting stroke.
A live look at Hideki on the practice green. Interesting, we often see players practice with one hand. Tiger often does it. Here he was using his right hand, not his left hand, as he has a aid device on that green, and obviously it's been a big part of his success. Every player here at Kapalua since 2006 has won in the final round. They had to be within 2 shots to the lead. That would make this a 2-horse race, Thomas and Matsuyama. So what about Jimmy Walker? He'll go off at 255 with William McGirt. We know about Jimmy, loves Hawaii, plays well in Hawaii, leads the field in proximity to the hole through 3 rounds this week. He spoke with Todd about trying to come from behind and get a win.
Jimmy, you said after your round yesterday that you were frustrated with your putting. You worked on your putting after the round. You feel like you got some of the kinks out?
Well, we're going to go find out today. Yeah, no, just giving it a little more speed, a little more pop, a little more zip, looking at the back of the cup, trying to get to hit the back of the cup.
Shot that 65 in that opening round. Do you think it's going to take something like that today for you to win?
I would think so. I mean, there's a lot of good players out there. Everybody's playing good. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of wind right now, but probably take something pretty good, so we'll go get after it.
A lot of excitement in the air here. 32 winners from 2016 and a busy day of golf on NBC and Golf Channel. As we talked about coming up at the top of the hour, it will be the final round of the SBS Tournament of Champions on NBC. See the start that Justin Thomas and Hideki Matsuyama get off. Meanwhile, if you're a fan of players struggling in tough conditions, the Bahamas is for you. Players really struggling in the Bahamas, then of course the SBS will finish up here on Golf Channel throughout the day. Justin Thomas, he's 2 wins on the PGA Tour, but never in the United States. Can that change today? We're back after this.